Welcome to the last flying season of this British aeroplane that represents the very best imaginative thinking out of the box virtues of aeronautical design and engineering. Here she is, Avro Vulcan XH558 and the Red Arrows. Drops away out of the formation, I think you'll agree that that is as near perfect formation as you could expect to see. So our thanks to the Red Arrows for that wonderful display of togetherness between a civil aircraft, which of course is what Vulcan is these days, and the military aircraft, the hawks of the Red Arrows, and we shall be seeing them later this afternoon. But now, keep your eyes on Vulcan XH558. She, I think, is probably the big rock star of the aviation world. She's the single most popular aeroplane in the country. She is even more popular than those lovely red aircraft, her Praetorian Guards, who looked after her so well in that fly past. The extraordinary thing is, with this graceful shape of an aeroplane, it was first drawn on a scruffy piece of paper, which is still in existence, in 1946. Drawn by the man who designed the fantastic Lancaster bomber, which we've been so missing this year, the wonderful Roy Chadwick. He died a year later in an aeroplane crash, so he never actually saw his brilliant Vulcan design fly. He didn't see it become the first successful operational delta-winged aircraft in the world. His job was taken over by Stuart D. Davis, who continued the amazing design work. But if you compare his 1941 design, the Lancaster, that's when the Lancaster first flew, and the Vulcan, which first flew in 1952, so only 11 years later, they might as well have come from different centuries. They're so totally different. And if you take that drawing of his in 1946, which is recognizably Vulcan, and extend it by 1 3/4, you get something that is recognizably Concorde. And of course, Concorde also had the same engines, the Rolls-Royce Bristol Olympus 202 engines. Of course, the Concorde engines had reheat to enable her to get supersonic. Vulcan was not supersonic, it was just a subsonic bomber, but with the capability of getting to about 640 miles an hour. That's just under the speed of sound. She could get up to 65,000 feet at a pinch, and of course that was the original plan, because she was designed to deliver the hydrogen bomb on the Soviet Union in the days of the Cold War. It's sometimes a bit difficult to imagine what it was like. I remember it well. We did seriously believe that we might all be destroyed. The whole of civilization might be destroyed in a nuclear holocaust. And Vulcan it was, amongst the other two of the V-Force bombers, Valiant and Victor, that kept that from happening. So this is an aeroplane that saved us all from nuclear destruction. She's coming back in from the left now, flown by Captain Kev Rumens, co-captain Martin Withers. Now, Martin Withers is the man who took Vulcan into operational flying in 1982. He flew her down to the Falkland Islands and dropped 21 1,000-pound bombs on the Port Stanley runway. She's starting to accelerate from the left. But with the power of those engines and the fact that she's 10 tons lighter than she used to be when she was in RAF service, you can't have the engines at full chat for very long. You'll exceed all the speed limits. So you have to take the throttles off again, and you then get the demonstration of how she can whisper round the place. It's an amazing airframe, this. It's very slippery, not much drag. She just glides along and can do it very quietly when she wants to. So, I was talking about Martin Withers. Right at the end of Vulcan's operational career, that was in 1982, she hit the centre line of the Port Stanley runway, which was occupied by the Argentines in the Falklands, with one bomb and the edge of the runway with another. That was out of dropping 21 bombs, 21 1,000-pound bombs, not far short of 10 tons. That's what you had to do with wartime non-guided weapons, dumb bombs as they're referred to. And you can see how stealthy she is. She creeps up on you and she has that slim look coming towards you. That is, as I was saying, the sound of those 4 Bristol Olympus 202 engines, about 16,500 pounds of static thrust from each of them, 65,000 pounds in total, give or take. So the wheels are down. Obviously she's not going to land here, but we see her coming by with the gear down, all 18 wheels, 16 wheels on the main undercarriage and 2 on the nose wheel. And as she comes abeam the centre point of the display, I'll expect to see them retracting the undercarriage back into their bays. That raid on the Falkland Islands was 7,760 miles round trip, the longest bombing raid in history at the time, and it involved 11 Victors refueling, and 18 air-to-air refuelings had to take place to enable this aircraft to get from Ascension down to the Falkland Islands and back again. It was a very close thing. Vulcan was immensely popular when she was in RAF service. This particular aeroplane was kept on long after the other operational aircraft had ceased flying as part of the Vulcan display flight. The Air Force finally got rid of her in 1993, her last display season 1992. And she was bought by David Walton, and he and Dr. Robert Fleming are the men who really caused this aeroplane to be back with us today. Bomb bay doors coming open as she goes by now. That is the size of the bomb bay. That is the heart of the bomber. That's the bomb bay that carried those 21 1,000-pound bombs, as I said, not far short of 10 tons. So David Walton and Robert Fleming decided that we ought to have a Vulcan fly again. Everybody said it couldn't be done, and it very nearly couldn't. On many occasions, it nearly failed. But with the help of the Heritage Lottery Fund and money from industry and money from you, that was the important thing. She finally got airborne again in 2007. It was an extraordinary moment, and it had cost about 7 million quid so far to get her airborne again for the second time. As she comes back in front of us this time, you'll see the bomb bay doors closing. That bomb bay these days full of the names of people who've contributed to this aircraft continuing to fly. So to get her to the stage at which we see her today has cost roughly 23 million quid. Not only has it been an amazing engineering project to get this aeroplane back in the air, it's also been an amazing fundraising project. She still costs £2 million a year to run. That's £38,500 a week, give or take. So altogether, the Vulcan to the Sky Trust has done some absolutely amazing things. I was talking about the engineering. Somebody who isn't on board is Taff Stone, the crew chief and the chief engineer. He always says, 558 is my baby. I always refer to the aeroplane as she. People tell me I shouldn't, but Taff says she's high maintenance. And that amazing design from Roy Chadwick. It's a bomber, but it flies like a fighter. And indeed, all Vulcans have, instead of the usual control yoke that you have in a big bomber in front of the pilots, you have fighter-type control columns. And you can see from the agility that we saw just there that that's really the result of some absolutely amazing aeronautical design. So this is her last flying season. She has about 4 more displays to do and then 2 big tours of the country. Why? Well, 3 technical authority companies have decided that they can't support Vulcan anymore. That's BAE Systems, Rolls-Royce and Marshall Aerospace. And without their support and their signatures, she loses her civil permit to fly. So she will become illegal at the end of this season. This is her final pass. Time to wave goodbye. So, what's next? Well, the Vulcan team and the Aviation Skills Partnership are going to create a new life for her as the dynamic centrepiece of the Etna project at Robin Hood Airport, Doncaster, Sheffield. It'll be an aviation academy and a heritage skills centre. It'll showcase technological achievements and advancements. It's called the Etna project because Mount Etna was the workshop of the god Vulcan. The Etna project will be like the Eden project, but for engineers. And as she goes away, I think we should probably remember the words of the great Dr. Seuss, you know, The Cat in the Hat, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. He wrote, "Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened." Or if you can't manage that, at least a little smile through the tears would be appropriate. Please go to the website, vulcantothesky.org, find her on Twitter, do all of those things. Continue to support her. She continues to need your support. But she immensely thanks you for all the fantastic support that you've given over the years. Thank you.
Sean Maffett, thank you everybody. Yes, a huge round of applause for the aircraft and the presenter. An absolutely outstanding piece of history. And I have to say, I have seen many Vulcan displays. That was exceptional.
Was a bit of a cracker, wasn't it?
It was outstanding. And I noticed many members of the Flying Control Committee taking a very good look at that. But it was terrific. Remember...
What are they going to do?
Not a lot. Not a lot. Remember, you were here today at Southport for that marvellous display. Sean Maffett, We owe you a debt of gratitude. Thank you so much for taking us through that.
George, thank you very much.